Hello, hello, hello. Thanks, Pam, for the question. The question was if you have someone with Lyme disease, um, how would you go about doing the sessions? So when you have someone that's dealing with chronic pain or something that they have been fighting a long time, it's important to schedule sessions. I usually do usually 48 hours apart is what I do. And that's just because when people go through sessions, they're going to detoxify, and you want to give their body a little time to detoxify. But if they're not experiencing relief, you kind of need to put the sessions closer together, and so that their parasympathetic nervous system can get a break. Like there has to be a release from the pain. So when you cluster sessions together, it helps because they're able to get some relief, they're able to get some rest, and they're able to get some hope. That's critically important. Now, when it comes to any kind of condition, I know that reflexology therapists do not treat for specific conditions. This gets very confusing for a lot of people because we go through every session and we do the full treatment. So why do we need to know anatomy and physiology if we do the full session every single time? I have had probably 90% of the reflexology therapists that I've trained ask that question, legitimately so, because it doesn't seem to make sense. So reflexology therapists do not treat for specific conditions. So if I come to you and you're doing a reflexology session on me, and I say I got a headache, I don't sit in your chair and you just press the headache points and said, "See you later, Cal." That's it. You know what I mean? That would be treating for a specific condition because you're not working the whole body as a whole. Now, it's a lot different than if somebody comes in with a headache. I do a full session, and then I am able to customize that session based on how that client feels, because I'm working the nervous system. Because the key system for a headache, think about it. When you have a headache, what system is hurting the most? It's your head, right? So you're going to work the nervous system because that includes the brain and the spine. But a headache can also come from anything to do with the endocrine system. So if your endocrine system, the chemicals in the body are off, that can cause a problem. Women that have um, fluctuating hormones also have headaches. So it could be the reproductive system. If the neck is out, or if there's something going on with the skeletal system, or the muscles are super tight due to stress, that can also throw it off. Digestive. So if it's something you ate and your body's having a hard time getting rid of it, it can also cause a headache. Immune. If your immune system is under attack, you can do that. So any of the reflexes associated with those body systems, I'm going to focus on a little bit more just to see if there's tension, if there is tenderness, if there's any kind of feedback from the client that is giving a signal where that specific client is stressed. And the reason why we do that is because some clients just fall asleep, right? And especially when you're learning, you don't know what you don't know. So it gives you a chance to allow your thumbs to start to feel for maybe something that is an indicator of where the stress might be in the body. And then you just hold that spot for an extra amount of time. So for example, I'm still doing the full session on this client, but when I get to the brain reflex, instead of just doing 3 quick thumb walks, I might hold it a little bit longer. You know what I mean? So I stay on those reflexes longer because that's where the body's holding more stress with that specific client. Then if a client comes in and they've got hip pain, well, I'm not going to be spending as much time on the reflexes that I did with a client that has a headache as I'm going to be with a client that needs extra support in the musculoskeletal system. You see what I mean? So when that client comes in, I'm going to be focused more on the hip, the sciatic, the shoulder reflex, because that's the referral area, all of the spine, and just to make sure that those are supported. So when you do it that way, it helps to relieve the stress in that specific client with their specific things. And you're getting that feedback from their health record. The client tells you what they are dealing with. So that's why it's important to have the health record. That's why it's important to do the treatment plan. That's why it's important to do everything. So that leads me to the um what happens is, just hold on. I love when the computer decides that it doesn't want to play anymore. That's so much fun. Hold on. Okay, so when it comes to figuring out what to work with the client, this is what you're going to do. So for Lyme disease, I go in and I hunt down the specific thing. So Canada.ca can be reliable. I prefer to go to the Mayo Clinic though. They kind of know what's going on. So if I go to Lyme disease, I know that it is a bacteria caused by a bite from a tick, and it is okay, so there's different stages to it. First thing is a rash, and then it can be accompanied by fever, headache, extreme tiredness, joint stiffness, muscle aches and pains, and swollen lymph. So if this is the case, obviously the main system that we're going to be working on is the immune and lymphatic, and you're going to spend extra time in those reflexes to really try to help boost the immune system. No matter what client lands in your chair, you're always going to work on the pituitary, the adrenal, the solar plexus, and the hypothalamus extra times, because the pituitary is going to help balance the chemicals in the body. The adrenals helps with pain management. The solar plexus helps with stress management. And the hypothalamus helps with balance throughout the entire body. Okay, so we know for sure with this specific client, no matter what, we're going to work the immune system, but for fever, we're going to make sure to focus extra on the hypothalamus. Headache, we're going to work all those body systems that I had just mentioned. Tiredness, you're going to have to work the pineal gland because that balances the circadian rhythm. Joint stiffness, you're going to work on the reflexes that correspond to the joints. So if it's the fingers, you're going to be working on the joints with the toes. It could be the hip, the knee, the shoulder, whatever. Muscle aches and pains, again, focus on the reflexes connected to the parts that that client is experiencing the most tenderness. And the lymph nodes is clearly the immune system is what we're going to be working on. Now, stage 2, if symptoms get worse, we got rashes, neck pain or stiffness, muscle weakness, immune system, pain in the musculoskeletal, hands, feet, eyes or eyelids, and the immune system. Okay, so again, if they're in stage 2, immune system, musculoskeletal system for the neck, make sure to work the nervous system, and so that you got everything covered in the head. Cardiovascular system for the heartbeat, back and hips, again, that's the musculoskeletal system, and the legs. Hands or feet, that's the entire foot. Eyes, so you would work the eyes, which is in the nervous system, but you would also work the kidney as the referral area, right? Okay, stage 3. You're going to go in here. Again, this is going to be a lot of pain. So it would be the same as the arthritis. So again, immune lymph, and then hit all the reflexes in the areas that are tender, including the musculoskeletal system. So the elbows, the knees, the hips, the shoulder, all that kind of stuff. And then there we go. That's how you would work it. And you would keep on following that protocol for every session. And so that you could get some idea on if the client is experiencing relief. I always get the clients to rate their discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10 at the beginning of the session. And then I get them to rate it again at the end of the session so that I can kind of tell how much the session has helped. And then I kind of gauge from that how long for the next session. So for example, if I didn't do that, and I ask the client how they're feeling, they'll be like, oh, well, I got pain. Okay. Well, is it more pain or less pain than at the beginning of the session? They don't have anything to gauge it with. So that's why I use numbers. And so if they came in and they were uncomfortable 10 out of 10, and when they're leaving, it came down like an 8 out of 10, I would get them to come back in a day or two. If it ended up moving down to a 5 out of 10, I would probably still get them to come back in 48 to 72 hours for their next session. If it went from a 10 right down to, hey, I feel amazing, I would get that client to come back in a week just to make sure that it stays consistent. And then when they came back in a week, I would ask them how long the pain stayed away for. And then I would gauge the next treatment based on that. I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, just post them below and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Thanks for that question, Pam. It was awesome. Bye for now.